Drivers, to your cars.
Hello and welcome to the All-Star for the nr2003-2007, but it follows the 2026 schedule at Dover. Bit late on this upload, just got a little busy this week with things, so I hope you don't mind a double upload this weekend, or whenever I do end up getting Charlotte out to you. There's no points to go over today, so really, with that out of the way, we can go through the starting grid, and then I'll explain the format, which isn't that tough to understand, but I'll still explain it to you guys. Anyway, on the pole is Denny Hamlin with Jeff Gordon to his outside, and Kyle Busch and Ryan Newman make up row number 2. Row number 3 consists of last time out winner Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards beside him. Jeff Burton and Matt Kenseth make up row number 4, with Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick in row number 5. Martin Truex Jr., who actually won the fan vote, which was my mistake. I accidentally declared Sterling Marlin as the fan vote winner. It was actually Martin Truex Jr., and he lines up next to Mark Martin here in row number 6. Row number 7 consists of Clint Boyer and Dale Earnhardt Jr., with Casey Kane and David Rudiman in row number 8. Row number 9 consists of Kurt Busch next to Greg Biffle and Michael Waltrip and Brian Vickers in row 10. Dale Jarrett and Casey Mears in row number 11, and rounding out the field you have Bobby Labonte and David Gilliland. With that out of the way, let's go down track side to get the command to fire up these engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines are fired up here from Dover. Now the format, as you can see, not very complicated. It's just 120 laps, and we're going to have a break at halfway so people can put on tires if they choose to. They may end up hitting under green, potentially. So we'll see what happens. It's just like competition caution, I guess. Like you're not required to pit, but it's there if you want to take it. Only race here at Dover this season. No points race for this venue. For this season at least. Hopefully that changes next year. Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon are going to lead the field to the green flag, ahead of Kyle Busch and Ryan Newman. Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick make up your top 10. But here we come to the green flag here from Dover. Green flag's in the air. There's Hamlin who jumps out to the early lead, but Busch right behind him. Now Busch is going to make it free. For the race lead, as Jeff Gordon's going to get split 3 wide up onto the top side, but it's 5 making a move down low, and he'll shoot out into the race lead here in the lead, lap number 1 of the All-Star. Kyle Busch leads lap number 1 of the All-Star. Hamlin trailing behind him, then Newman, Stewart, Gordon, and Burton. The 5's won twice this year. He won at Phoenix, and then he won at Martinsville. So he knows how to get around these shorter tracks this year, as Gordon is still slipping back on that high side. And you know, if you've been following the news this week, with the tragic passing of Kyle Busch in the real world, a win here today in the sim would be pretty special. And we got a caution. Oh, Bobby, huge crash. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte has no-clipped through the out. How does this happen? What caused this? So Edwards gets hooked into Dale Jr., and Kenseth comes back. He just gets grand slammed here into the wall. Yeah, he just gets grand slammed by Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's not a very good camera angle of this, but also just take a look at it. Earnhardt Jr. just comes flying across the track. I don't know how many of these guys are going to be able to continue. As we watch the field roll around on a caution, we'll get to see if anyone will head towards pit road here. It appears that Dale Jr. is going to try to get back on the racetrack. So is Casey Mears. I think Bobby O'Bonney is done for the day. Yes, Bobby O'Bonney and Kurt Busch both done for the day. Nobody's going to come down pit road to put fresh tires on. But as I was mentioning, the real world death of Kyle Busch, I thought that we should, through this race and the 600, run lap 8 and lap 18 in silence. So I'm going to leave you alone with the car engines here. Once we go back green, I'm going to call the very beginning of the restart, but once we hit the line, I'm going to shut up. Green flag back in the air, and Busch leads the field to the start-finish line. Oh, and we got a crash. I'm sorry to interrupt the silent lap, but they're crashing down the back straightaway again. Martin Truex Jr. involved, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Dale Jarrett, David Gillen, all caught up in it. And that started with Boyer and Gordon and Newman and Truex just gets hooked down the racetrack. Good job to most of these guys getting through. Dale Jarrett just piles in. David Ruderman got some damage. But Ryan Newman gets sent spinning straight into the wall. Matt Kenseth narrowly avoids and getting caught up in his second straight wreck. And you can see from Matt Kenseth's eyes, so little visibility. The 5 of Kyle Busch lost the lead there, but Ruderman, Jarrett, Newman, Gordon, Jr., O'Bonney and Kurt Busch are all out of the race. Truex is going to try to patch that car up and get some repairs done. And he does. Truex does return to the racetrack. David Gillen, being shown one lap down, he will also remain on the racetrack. He was involved in that accident though, so he will not be eligible for the free pass. And I accidentally fast forward through the restart, so here we go. Jimmy Johnson's going to dive over the race lead in the turn 1. 7 cars out of the race here, and so far we're not even to lap 20. Tony Stewart going inside on his teammate Denny Hamlin for second, or third, sorry. This Busch chases after Johnson for the race lead. Johnson holds it here off 2. And there you see your cars with damage. Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth heading for pit road. So that'll be someone to keep an eye on. Busch side by side with Johnson for the race lead. Here's Stewart looking low. Going to get away with the lead here for 3 and 4, but Stewart's going to look back down low. There's Kenseth and Kane losing the lap as Stewart and Busch run side by side through 1 and 2. They're both going to fall 2 laps down here as Edwards is making a move for second. They almost came together right there. Somehow kept it off of each other. Kenseth, Kane, both a lap down. But Kenseth could probably run down that 38 car to get the free pass if he needs to do that. Okay. Casey Kane only just getting back on the racetrack. He may be at risk of falling 3 laps down. I think, yeah, they're 2 down currently. So they'd have to race all the way through the field and then get David Gill again for the free pass. Kenseth has already cleared Gill, and to be fair, and has a fairly quick car. He just ran his best lap of the race, which is about a second faster than Gillen, like 8/10 faster. You see Greg Biffle, who was involved in one of those earlier accidents, also with damage to his car going a bit slowly, but it's Tony Stewart who holds the lead. And if you will excuse me, I'm going to just step out for just a second. I've returned. Sorry for the interruption there. That cost y'all 5 laps of commentary. Almost exited the game right there. Casey Kane getting upset to go a lap down, and Casey Mears also running significantly off the pace. Truex and then Gillen set to go 2 laps down soon as well. It'll be 3 laps down for Kane. Once he gets passed here by Tony Stewart, which he will. Does. Kane passed by Stewart despite pitting. But he must have a good amount of damage to that car. As Hamlin, very bold move right there on Kane. Kenseth has a fast car still, you know, he pitted, but came out just ahead of David Gillen. He's running with 10th place Clint Boyer right now. He's going to need a little bit of luck with these cautions here to be able to get back into it, but we'll see if it does work out for him. Casey Mears, mentioned earlier, a couple seconds ago really, is the next one to go 1 lap down. Michael Waltrip here running in 9th, just 1 spot ahead of Clint Boyer, who he finished 2nd to in the All-Star Open to make this race. next race is the longest race of our season, Coca-Cola 600. Real life, Casey Mears and Matt Max. Do we see a similar upset there in Charlotte next time out? Join us to see if it happens. About 30 laps until the All-Star caution, as I'll call it, as Tony Stewart is under fire from teammate Denny Hamlin for the race lead, but Stewart uses that top side to clear Denny, but Hamlin's going to force him up. Wants to strike, and Denny Hamlin does not lead the lap, but Stewart just forces Casey Mears 3 wide, and Mears going to now get lapped by Johnson and Bush as well. As that works, Kane is 2 laps behind Mears, so I don't know if there'll ever be a battle for position in this race. Next up is Martin Truex Jr., who I thought was going to be a good car, you know. He was not dominating, but he was in the top 2 for pretty much all of that All-Star Open. It's a shame that he had to fall back on the fan vote because of the late yellows that just cost him his chance. But you see him now about to go 1 lap down. So he seems to have a problem under the hood of that car. David Gilliland right there about to go 2 down, and then the next car they will lap is Greg Biffle. So good little patch of clean air for these guys to navigate in. As Hamlin, Johnson, Stewart starting to sort of distance themselves from the 5 of Kyle Busch, as Hamlin's going to easily get by and clear David Gilliland in the 38. Stewart and Johnson easily get by Gilliland. Oh, it was a little bit tight there, but they do get by the 38 of David Gilliland. Here's Kyle Busch looking low on David Gilliland now for the 4th, from 4th, not for the 4th spot though. Gilliland won this season's 500, putting him in this All-Star race, and next year's All-Star race if we decided to continue this sim for another season, that was 2008. So that'll be something to keep your eyes peeled for, as Hamlin has the lead still, but Stewart's looking back inside on Johnson, side by side for second. Can Johnson use that top side sort of advantage it has, but it depends how deep the car inside drives. If you have that advantage, but Stewart's going to probably be able to clear you off 3 and 4. Stewart now clear of Johnson, making it Gibbs 1-2. Hamlin, Stewart, Johnson, and Busch in the top 4 as we got about 20 laps until the halfway break. Biffle about 12 seconds back, so he needs to try to hang on for about 20 laps. Maybe make some more damage repairs, and could be more competitive by the end of this. Kenseth, meanwhile, is about to pass David Gilliland on just merit. Unfortunately for Kenseth, he is 2 laps down, not just 1 lap down. But he's running at 21.2, which is just about 2 tenths off of what these guys are running. Like, he could go up there and pass Kane, but Kane is much slower. He needs Mears and Truex to fall another lap down. I think he's already gotten by both of them, and that he has, but I don't think that Mears and Truex are slow enough to go a 2nd lap down, have the whole field pass them, and end up behind Matt Kenseth, and they're running down Greg Biffle by about a 2nd a lap, and Brian Wickles is right there with him. We'll check the interval next time they come around, but I don't think Biffle will be on that lead lap for much longer. Stewart a little bit wider than Hamlin now off turn number 2. leads him across the line. Down the back straightaway they go, and into 3 and 4 again. The intervals say that Biffle is losing about a second a lap. So it's estimated that in about 6 or 7, through the hands, 6 or 7 laps, that Biffle will go a lap down, along with the 83 of Brian Vickers, who currently runs in 11th spot. Casey Mears is probably going to go another lap down before then, though. And Truex, so I wouldn't... Maybe don't count Matt Kenseth out to pass those guys. Being the free pass, we get a couple quick yellows. But we're inching closer to 10 laps until we get that break. And again, it's not mandatory to pit during that break. So you may see some guys stay out and take a green flag pit stop. Maybe all of these guys will take green flag pit stops because they feel it's better for them to make it to the end of the race from that. Kenseth and Kane. Kenseth we should be using as our bar since we've been racing since about lap number 13, 14-ish. There's about 14 lap pressure tires and the leaders. Matt Kenseth is running 21.2s, and these guys at the front are running 21.1s. So Kenseth has a 6th place speed right now at the moment. Jeff Burton is about 6 seconds back though. But if they do get hung up behind some of these lap cars, can Matt Kenseth drive up there and get one of his laps back? Or when we bunch everyone up and go green again, Matt Kenseth has to climb through that whole field if we go green again. I just don't think 6 seconds and 10 laps is a very plausible. Unless you're just significantly faster. I think you'll get Casey Mears just because of how far off the pace Mears is at the moment. As you see Johnson looking low on Stewart, this will be a battle for second here. But Stewart has that upper lane he likes way around the top side. But there you see they're going to catch Greg Biffle pretty shortly here. 21.2 again for Kenseth that time by. It's also 21.2 for Hamlin, so he's matching lap times with these race leaders. It was just him having to pit for some reason that may have dragged him out of contention for this all-star race win, as we've got about 5 laps until that scheduled break. I think they'll get the 83 car, and that'll be the battle for the free pass, Biffle versus Vickers. But we'll see, because yeah, you can see Biffle in frame now, as Hamlin is half a second ahead of Johnson, 7/10 up on Stewart, and 1.1 seconds up on Kyle Busch. Hamlin leads him through 3 and 4, and he'll be catching Greg Biffle now here. And Vickers is probably hoping that these guys get held up for a lap or so behind Biffle. Maybe lap or 2 have to chase after him for a few laps, but that won't quite be happening because Biffle is going to get disposed of pretty much immediately. Kenseth is about to get Casey Mears for position. Biffle is running 21.7, so he's about half a second a lap slower. There's David Gilliland about to go on a second lap down. What would it be? 3 laps down for Gilliland. Truex would also be going a second lap down. Hamlin looking low on Brian Vickers in the 83 car here. And I think he'll be able to get him pretty quickly, because Truex is going to choose the lane that Vickers. Two to go until that halfway break. The All-Star Caution, as it was nicknamed this past Sunday in real life. Michael Waldrop will be fortunate enough to stay on the lead lap. Once Denny Hamlin hits the line, we'll get the caution. Right here on lap number 60. And everyone's going to die for pit road here, including the pace car. The pace car fakes everyone out though. Pace car does not die for pit road like everyone else. Free pass will go to Brian Vickers in the 83 car here. And maybe they can get some repairs done on the 83 car. Yeah, maybe buff that left side out. But I don't think that's what they're gonna do. It is not. Now, if anyone can come out ahead of the leaders, they could get a lap back, but I don't think that'll happen. Hamlin's going to win the race off pit road ahead of Johnson and Stewart. Harvick had gotten into the wall there. You see his side caved in a lot. Free car, Brian Vickers gets the free pass and back onto the lead lap. David Rudiman, Rudiman is out of the race already. Thought I'm sure someone else retired out of the race there for just a second. But Denny Hamlin will be leading the field back to green here. And will we see a couple quick yellows that could help out? Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth. Here we come back to the restart. Hamlin, Johnson, Stewart, Busch, and Edwards. Green flag back in the air. And Truex is slowing that lap car queue up. Which I bet is frustrating for the 17 of Kenseth, who would have liked to be ahead of him for the restart. But they're stacking up here in 3 and 4 because Denny Hamlin is pitting. Race leader Denny Hamlin coming to pit row. And that's going to stack everyone up here in the front. Something amiss on the 11 of Denny Hamlin. 3 wide for the back and they're going to crash. Mark Martin hard into the inside. Well, they're barrel rolling down the back straight away. Caution's going to fly. Jimmy Johnson is coming to pit road as Hamlin exits. He's going to be wondering what has just occurred. Busch gets into Martin and Vickers, who go tumbling through the air. In the free pass goes to Greg Biffle. Vickers is going to be out of the race. You see Mark Martin down there getting serviced. The 11 of Hamlin was on the lead lap at the time of the caution. So Hamlin will be fine. And Greg Biffle will also get waved around. So 8 cars out of this race. As I think we're about to get the 1 to go signal. Yes, that is the case. As we'll be going back green on lap number 70. Green flag back in there. We just completely missed the restart point the second time today. Michael Waltrip is going to get into second spot here. As you see them running 3 wide back here. Truex obviously the slowest car again. Johnson is down pit road a second time. Some more problems on the 48 with Jimmy Johnson. And Johnson's one of the best cars here. But Stewart comes across the line ahead of Busch, Edwards, Waltrip, Burton, Hamlin, Harvick, Boyer, Kenseth, Mitchell. And he's going to come out of pit road just a lap down, so hopefully he can get a quick yellow here. Jimmy Johnson is. Because he'll be a good bit ahead of Stewart and Busch and others. Yeah, only 1 lap down for Johnson here. So making only 9 cars on the lead lap out of 24 that started, but to be fair, 8 of those 24 are out of the race due to crashes. This race has been chaotic so far. They went back up into third. And if we get a late yellow for another accident, because we have enough people out here to want it up again. You know, we have guys going slow, like Martin Truex Jr. We can definitely wad it up one more time, you know, throw some fresh tires on and go for it again. Not completely sure what happened to Johnson, though. But we shall see if it just completely kills his chances of winning this race. Busch isn't letting Stewart get outside though. But the top 3 is starting to pull away a little bit. Edwards sort of hanging with, but not totally. Waltrip here in the top 5, which is probably the biggest surprise of this whole race, to be honest with you. Kenseth running around right here. Both Clinton Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton. Harvick almost gets up into the wall there. It could have been the crash that Jimmy Johnson needed, being the only car 1 lap down at the moment. Busch and Hamlin still side by side. Busch going to drive it way deep into turn 1. And he's going to use that upper groove to stay clear of Hamlin here into 3 and 4, but Hamlin's not quite done yet. They're going to continue side by side to the front stretch. Start-finish line with Busch and still nosing ahead of Hamlin. Out for 1 and 2 again. Hamlin's going to clear him here easily. Hamlin gets clear of Busch. Here they go for 1 and 2 again. Stewart, Hamlin, Busch, Edwards. Hamlin's made his way up in the second now, not letting his teammate get too far ahead here. But it's Stewart still leading the field here, with less than 40 to go here from Dover. Down the back straightaway they go again. Stewart still hanging on a little bit over Hamlin and Bush. It's about a 3/10 gap at the moment. And it's frankly not really growing or shrinking too much. Johnson trying to keep from going 2 laps down. He's running about 29s. Leaders are running 28s. So we'll see how this plays out for Johnson in the 48, especially when these leaders get into the really slow cars like near as I can. And these two JGR cars are obviously dominant. Kenseth would be top 5 right now. He's about, I want to say that's about 2/10 ahead of Harvick, so like 4.5 seconds behind the race leader. So good on him. I mean, he's still 2 laps down, but he might be able to drive up there and get one of the laps back. Hamlin's closed the gap there to 2/10 of a second. If these teammates get together, then pretty much opens the door for a 5-car win, which I don't think very many people watching right now would be opposed to. Fans on their feet in the grandstands watching these top 3 go for $1 million as we close now on 30 laps to go. And those tires will be pretty worn here at the end, so it'll become even more harder to pass. With tires worn, not able to make as good of a move. Stewart still hanging on for now though. As he walks it up the hill, he's going to get blocked by Casey Mears, held up by Casey Mears on the exit of turn 2. The other 2 here in the top 3, not going to have very much trouble getting around the 25. The 5 is going to get him on exit, but he's going to even be clear by the start-finish line. It's pretty much going to be a JGR battle. Tony Stewart trying to hold off Denny Hamlin, who won this race in real life on Sunday just a couple days ago. Stewart and Hamlin are going to catch Truex and Gilliland, who were thinking about running side by side here, which would hold these guys up tremendously. But they're basically going to force Truex to ride behind Gilliland for a little bit now. But Gilliland's going to go wide. That's going to allow Busch to get around Truex. As Edwards lapping back at Casey Mears. But Busch has fallen off a bit as they've gone through lap traffic now. The next lap car they're set to catch, Greg Biffle, who is losing about half an 8/10 lap, it seems. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. There's Truex. I don't know why I just said Truex. Stewart leads Hamlin and Busch. Stewart, Hamlin, and Busch, your top three here, as they continue down the back straightaway. Kenseth on his little journey, about 6 seconds back. Biffle continuing to lose about 8/10 a lap. He'll probably also finish a lap down. As we're closing in on 20 laps to go here from Dover. Stewart's basically dominated this little second portion since Johnson dove for pit road from a spot towards the front. Hamlin also, who dove for the pit road, got very lucky with the Mark Martin Brian Vickers caution. But here we go, side by side for the race lead. Hamlin's tired of waiting around, and he's going to easily drive straight by teammate Tony Stewart for the race lead. He waited and waited for the right moment to come, and right there was when it was. With 21 laps to go, now 20 to go, Denny Hamlin leads at Dover. Stewart's still hanging on to his back bumper though, and the 5 is still there. So it's not completely over yet, but the laps do go by quickly here. However, lap traffic, Greg Biffle, Casey Kane, Casey Mears, they'll run into lap cars again, so it's not over for these guys quite yet. There's going to be a couple more challenges here before Denny Hamlin has $1 million to his name. Let's look at the battle for 5th, as I think Kenseth actually got repassed by all of these guys, so it seems like whatever pace he had, he lost. But Harvick, when you're a little up the hill, look at trying to get by Jeff Burton in the 31. Hamlin's starting to gap Stewart now, 0.4 of a second back to the 20. The 5 trying to make a run at the 20 as well. Maybe we'll see one more crash that shakes everything up. Johnson's going to be getting around Greg Biffle here. This will, unfortunately for him, not be for position. Seems like Johnson's going to have to settle for a 10th place finish when he was battling for the lead there. But he's going to very easily lap the 16 of Greg Biffle. Stewart still hanging around that 5/10 back range from Hamlin, but an issue could always happen. Hamlin caught the 16 in a bit of an awkward spot, but it doesn't matter to him really, because Stewart's not directly on his bumper. And I feel like Johnson will be the hardest pass to make if he does get to him, just because of how similar the pace Johnson is running to Hamlin in the 11. Stewart had a little bit more trouble getting around the 16 of Greg Biffle, but he's still going to get clear of him pretty quickly. But Busch is going to get really held up behind the 16 car, 1.2 seconds back. Closing in on 10 laps to go here from Dover for the All-Star. Here comes the big gaggle that I'd be worried about if I was Hamlin, but Johnson, being as close as he is, may help Hamlin out a little bit with lap traffic. Inadvertently, or advertently, we shall see. Hamlin got a little bit slowed up by the 25 of Mears there. Does that help Stewart close in at all? Just a little margin. But how does Stewart catch the 25 of Mears? Doesn't have to slow up whatsoever, and he's going to be clear of the 25 by the time they get to 3. But Stewart exactly a second behind when they hit the line. So Hamlin didn't have any traffic that lap. He's going to have Kane for traffic this lap. Going to easily pass by him. And even then, lapping Kane still gaps Tony Stewart in the 20. But he's catching Johnson. And this will be interesting. Johnson's running... Well, they're in clean air at the moment. So we'll see how fast Johnson runs this time by. But this could be a hard pass for Hamlin. But maybe Stewart used up his tire just a little bit, trying to stay ahead of Denny Hamlin, which proved to not really work, as Johnson's gonna block Hamlin down the front straightaway here. How long does the blockade last? How much can Stewart gain from it? Stewart's got to pass all these guys too. But how much did he gain that lap? 2/10. But now he has to go past Gilliland as well, which he's going to choose the top side to do it. Don't typically see that when they're lapping people around here. Now he's going to cut low to get Martin Truex Jr. in the 1. As we have 4 laps to go. And now how much is Johnson going to get slowed up behind Johnson, and can Stewart even make up a second in 3 laps? 3.5 laps. Now we're going to be free to go. Stewart lost a 10th that lap, so I think Hamlin's pretty much got it in the bag if he doesn't try to make a move. A silly move on Johnson. They're running 21-1s, so I think that they'll just be cruising here to the checker. Looking back now to Busch. 2.9 seconds back in his number 5 car. He'll be lapped by Casey Kane. Coming to the white flag for Hamlin. 1 lap to go for Denny. As he comes to 1 and 2 for the final time. Hamlin has dominated this race. Started it on pole. Going to finish it in P1 as well. Denny Hamlin's going to come around turn 3 and 4. And he'll win the All-Star race. Stewart second. Kyle Busch third. Then it's going to be way back where I was. Fourth. Burton. Harvick. Boyer. And Waltrip round out the cars that finished on the lead lap.